Hello, everyone, and welcome to
Fika for Life! Whoop,
Well,
whoop.
another exciting episode is waiting to be done. I don't know what I was going to say right now, but my name is Edward Thomas, and my co-host is
Linh and hello!
Hey, Lynn. It's good to see you back here again. It's been such a long time.
Really?
Yes.
True.
Since the last time we made an episode. That was a while ago. So, So now here we are, and today's topic is...
A bit depressing.
It's not well, okay, it is depressing.
It's kind of depressing.
Yeah.
So sorry.
So we want to shout out to some of our listeners who constantly write into us. So shout out to David. Shout out to
Manal.
and to Jonathan. So we do have guys that do listen to our podcast. Woohoo!
Whoop, whoop.
Thank you, man.
I think there was another guy in my work.
Hanne so we want to shout out to, and
Yeah.
Hamida. So those are some of our listeners.
Anna Card is also a very loyal listener.
Anna Card, and she's super loyal. I know. We should make her a cake one day.
Well, isn't it enough I married into her family already?
Yeah, and it's enough. I'm her friend, so I guess she gets all the rewards she gets.
Exactly.
She doesn't get more than that.
We can have one episode where we only talk about Anna Card.
No, because she's so tall, and I always feel so short.
So beautiful.
I know.
So ginger hair.
I know. It's like it's long and it's like on fire.
Yeah.
I know. She's like everything
And all
you want
the
to be.
freckles. I was like, oh.
I know. If I was a girl, I'd be on the card.
Okay. Enough of the crushing.
She's gonna be like, I really don't want to talk to you people anymore. You're just way too.
Now she's
out
getting
there.
red.
I know.
She's like
a little tomato. It's like, I just want to pinch your cheek. It's like, oh. Okay. The reason that we start off this way, having fun, is because it is a very serious topic, and we have to sort of work ourselves into it.
I'm like, by making fun.
Yeah, but that's what you do. No. So one of our listeners, Jonathan, thank you for the subject for today. How do you talk to small children and tell them that someone has died? Someone that they know, like either a teacher or another kid at Doggus, like at their daycare or school or whatever. Like, how do you tell small kids about death? Lynn, because you have small kids. My kids are adults now, so,
Well, since my mom is terminally sick, she has lung cancer that has spread already. And eventually she will die earlier than expected.
Yeah.
And I mean, it took some time for me to come to terms with it. And sometimes I'm still struggling just about the thought that she will die. But when I talk with my daughter, who will turn 5 soon, maybe already a year ago, because we got a diagnosis. Was it 2 or 3 years ago? 2 years ago? Almost 3 years ago now in January. And when we went on the graveyard, we usually talk about that. We're like, she was asking, what's this? And
you guys go to the graveyard often? Or?
No, but I remember it so vividly because it was the first time we went to a graveyard with her where she actually was aware of where she was at the graveyard. And then we talked about how people die and what happened, like just the biological part of it. You'll die, you stop breathing, you get really cold, and then you're getting
you have a lot of experience.
Then the body is put into a casket in the ground, and the maggots come, and there will be. And she only remembers all the maggot stuff.
Of course, because if someone told me about the maggots, I would be like, maggots. Oh my gosh!
No, but she's like, yeah, and then you'll become Earth again, and then if you're a friend of Jesus, then you get to go with him to heaven, and if you're not, then you're going somewhere else. Yeah, I'm like, but then we will not see each other again. So it's good to be a friend of Jesus because then we can be together and have fun. And
I'm wondering if maybe when those of us who have a faith, then maybe that talking about death is a lot easier, because a lot of us who have a faith believe that there is a life after death. Death is not a final solution, as opposed to those who believe that when you die, you just cease to exist. Like, I don't know, because I'm in that situation, so I don't know how you would talk to a kid. They're like, well, when you die, then you just cease to exist and you just become part of the dirt again and the cycle of life goes on. Like, it sounds scarier. From my perspective, it sounds scarier.
I think how I hear other people who don't have faith talk about it, I have never heard them telling it how they feel about it. Like, well, then life's over. That's it. Usually they like just make up. Well, you go to heaven, you become an angel, you become a cloud, you become a tree. Like,
isn't that kind of weird though that people without faith
they are wrapping it? Yeah, they're wrapping it like so it's nice. It's not actually what they believe. It's something like they want their children to believe, but they don't believe in it. And I just feel like that's so dishonest. Like,
exactly.
But and then you would maybe say, and then I always think like, so do you think that? What are you lying to your child because you feel like what you believe is too harsh for them to take?
Yeah.
Is it that? And then if that is so,
quite an interesting question.
If that's so, how can you believe? Like, why do you protect your child from that?
Like, why are you protecting? If you believe that, if what you believe is so true, why would you protect your child from something and then give them something that's not true? That you don't believe in. Yeah, that's really strange.
That's a really strange concept because I haven't heard people who don't have belief say that, like how they believe, like, well, when you die, then that's it. There is nothing behind. Like, you just become earth, and that's it. And
because I mean, when a parent wants to tell their kid, well, basically, you're just an accident. Everyone's an accident. Nothing has meaning.
No, it's not an accident. It's a coincidence.
Oh,
it's
something that just happened, but there was
a lottery win.
There's no meaning behind it. That means that there's no meaning behind your existence either. But
except they usually say that mommy and daddy really wanted a baby and then you came around.
Wow.
So they
our thoughts create reality.
Yeah.
That's just as mythical as anything else that they're trying to spin.
But I
understand that talking about death is really uncomfortable for a lot of people. So
because you have to come to terms with it first.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's really cool that you said that you have time to sort of reflect about it and come to terms first with it.
Yeah, because I mean, I usually also tell Nomi that people get really sad and it's really normal. Like, people are really sad and they will not see them for a long time probably unless you also die. The same, which is not nice. But Nomi was, I think for some time she was really scared that we would die because I told like everyone, but she knows now. Like, I told her everyone is going to die earlier or later.
You didn't tell her I was going to die though, right?
No, not all our conversations are about you.
Why not? Why not? I'm a very important person in her life.
But I think at some point she was really scared that we would die and leave her like by herself. And we tried to explain to her, well, you most probably will not die before you, and we will try to be healthy, so we will live a long time. And you'll be fine, and we all see each other in heaven again with Jesus. And I think it's I don't know, I really try to tell her, like, if you're friends with Jesus, you go to the same place. If you're not friends with Jesus, we will not see each other again after we die, which is really sad. But it's not about this thing that she should go around and, like, judge people. You go to hell. You go to hell. Like, I really avoid that she would fall into that trap.
She was like 5 years old, like, do you believe in Jesus? No, I don't believe in Jesus. You're going to hell. And I just, it would destroy, like, she's so cute and fun. So I would really destroy her image. She'd be going around in church and say, I think you're going to hell.
There's fire. It's really hot. It hurts.
Exactly. With all that glee, Yes, please tell people that. No, but I think that's one of the things that maybe in the modern world where we're all so removed far away from death. I mean, we don't kill our own food. We don't butcher our own food.
People are like, how can you? Oh, this is like, I think the other day we were at work and we were talking about like killing our own food and how that's horrible. And people are like, no, you can't do that. I'm like, what? Then if you feel like you could never kill this or that animal, you shouldn't eat the meat.
Every animal I eat, I could kill. I'm like, I'm ready.
It's part of it. And I've heard like pigs screaming their death scream because they knew that they were going to slaughter. And I'm like, it's horrible. Still, I eat my bacon. So I'm like,
That's right.
I mean, I've helped my mom killing live chicken, so I've been there.
Really, have you?
Yeah, holding
That's
the wings.
New. I never knew about that before.
I told you before, like holding the wings and the legs of the chickens, and mom would cut the throat, or killing fish. Like I helped to kill fish. But I mean, you usually start with the small animals, and you don't go to the cow immediately. So
it's like, here you are, 6 years old. It's time to kill the cow. Really, Mom? Yes, that's right. Elsie's got to die.
Oh no, but yeah, but how do you, or have you experienced telling? Maybe you haven't really had toddlers. I don't know, when you do the funerals. Do kids?
Yeah. So when I'm working in the church, this is the thing I always tell parents. They're like, "Oh, we don't want our kids to come." I'm like, "No, you should let them come." So it's something I think is really healthy for kids is to actually go to funerals when someone dies, because kids can also grieve.
Yeah.
And so the same way that parents, that adults need to have that closure and that sort of point from which you can go forward with, the children need that also. And if we don't teach children that death is natural, we create an artificial fear of death, which we shouldn't have. I mean, I'm not saying that we should go out and like want to die or want to kill ourselves or something, but what I mean is just like people die. And it is quite normal for the majority of people that we meet on this planet will die.
Yeah.
And so, like during our lifetime, the majority of people will die. And so we want to make it as
normal.
Like you want to sort of, in Swedish we say avvapna, that you want to you want to take away the weaponize. You want to de-weaponize. You want to take away the sting, but still leave, the seriousness there. And so I think it
will hurt and you will be sad. It's
one day I was at a funeral and the girl's grandfather had died, and so she had made a drawing, and when she came there and she laid on the casket. Oh my gosh.
You cannot weep at this time.
I was done. I was like, and I was so happy that the parents, like I feel like I'm almost going to cry now. I was so happy that the parents let her
be part of this.
Let her be part of the process. And you could see that she was like, she's saying goodbye to her grandfather. I mean, I just tore me up. I'm
crying now.
I'm
PMSing.
And it was really, I think it was really moving. Nice. It was really moving. And I felt like this funeral was like for real,
It was a sample funeral. Yeah, exactly. You should have recorded this, parents.
This is how you're supposed to do it. And so sometimes people have allowed their small children to come, which I think is sometimes the kids don't understand.
No,
and sometimes
they would play,
but they're kids. Kids are kids, but I think letting them see that, and letting them take part in the adults grieving.
Yeah, like people crying, to see that, and they see crying is not a scary thing,
right?
Because otherwise, I think maybe many times people don't want to cry in front of their children because they don't want to traumatize them or scare them. But I just feel like, crying is a part of life. It's very natural. Right. I mean, kids cry all the time. So why shouldn't the parents be human enough to also cry? And if a loved one dies, that's the best reason for crying. That's like the most understandable reason for crying.
But I think it's because people try to insulate kids from
emotions.
Just from like how hard life really is.
Yeah.
And so it gives a sort of artificial idea that life is not hard, but life is hard. Yeah. And it's not always fair. And I think that helping kids to be able to deal with that, and especially in an environment where other people around them care for them and love them, is really, really good. So I always recommend it, even though parents don't always listen to me. And then I think that.
Well, you can recommend it.
Yeah, I mean, I do. I always ask if there are going to be kids that are coming and stuff like that. And sometimes people are like, no, we want to leave them at home. Well, my recommendation is that you don't.
Yeah, bring them.
But
it could also be that it could. But I feel like it could also be that you are so busy with your own grief that you can't be the parent you want to be for your child with the grieving.
Well, I don't know. I think
that's how I would feel. Like I want my kids to be at anyone's funeral I know, but I think if you yourself have such a hard time grieving, I can understand that people say, "No, I can't handle the grief of a parent, a sibling, and have my kids there too to look after."
Yeah, but I would say accept the challenge. I would do it. I mean, because because my kids have mostly grown up in Sweden, so they don't really know the people on the American side of the family.
No.
Which meant that like when my grandfather died, my dad's side, I was really sad.
Yeah.
But they couldn't really understand it because they've never met him. They've never had a relationship to him.
Haven't seen you with him.
No, exactly. Yeah. And I think that when my grandmother died on my mom's side, that I think that kind of bothered them, but still they've only met her like one time, years ago.
It could also be that they are just bothered by how you reacted, like your grief and your sadness.
Because I think then I stayed up in my room, and because I think it was really like they still had school and everything to go in, and I was like really, really wrecked by that, So, and my kids were a lot older, so they're like
teenagers
at the end of high school or had been done with high school, so they were a lot older, so they weren't small. So, but I think that when they were small, there was no one in our
dying. Immediate family dying.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So for them, they've gone through almost their whole childhood without having to experience death until now as adults. Then there's people who've died and stuff like that. So
and I think that's too late. I feel like
but we never talked about it because it just wasn't
relevant.
Yeah, it just wasn't relevant. It's like, okay. I mean, I think that like when I was a kid growing up, because my mom was a single parent, she told us that if she were to die,
what would happen?
That we have to make sure. She told me you have to take care of your brother and sister. And so my mom raised us to be so independent.
Yeah.
So that if she died, like we wouldn't have to.
She wouldn't have to be concerned, like
like because back in the States, like the government would take you and put you into a home,
foster home or
something. You don't want that. That's just crazy.
Yeah.
So she made us so like we know how to cook and we know how to pay the bills and all kinds of stuff. So we would just continue on.
But could you stay by yourself if your mom? Nah, I don't think so. Not without a guardian.
Yeah, but it happens. It does happen sometimes in the States, unfortunately.
What?
Yeah, there's ways to get through the system. There's ways to not be part of the system. Like you can get out of it, but you've got to be smart. You got to have resources around you.
Well,
but anyway, yeah. But I think just telling small children, I think that I don't think there's a certain age, but I think that when they get to the age where, like you were saying with Numi, that once you get to the age where you can.
I think three is the youngest, I would say, because then they also have language to express if they are scared or happy or sad, or if they have questions. 4 is even better age, and I think from the age of 5 now, Nomi's turning 5 soon, I think she can express how she feels.
Right.
That's the most important thing, because you don't want to like overthrow them with information that they can't process.
Exactly.
And I don't think that you should make a trip to a cemetery just
because.
Because, like...
Want to show you where the dead people are at. Really?
No, but I mean, soon it's All Saints. In Sweden, it's a really...
Then it would be a good time to do it.
Yeah, All Saints...
Like when it's natural. So, like in your case, because your mom has a diagnosis, then it's natural to talk about it.
Yeah.
All Saints would be, because especially here in Sweden, where it's celebrated in a really significant kind of way. All the cemeteries are lit up with candles and everything.
Yeah, people go to their to relatives' graves and put on candles, checking out the graves. And we did that, I think, was it last year? I think we did that last year.
Okay.
And one of Jonas' cousins died quite young, when he was like 19. So we went to visit his grave, and then we went to visit someone else's graves and like relatives. And we talked about that. And we also like, because kids are kids, but we try to teach the kids, like Norma especially, like, you cannot be running around here. Like, this is not a playground. It might look like a playground for you,
like a park.
But this is not a playground.
All the fun things that people leave on top of the
on the stones.
Yeah. It's like, oh, look, all these things I could play with. No, don't do that. Yeah.
So we try to teach her, like, okay, we have to be respectful. People have died here, and there are memories here, and people care about these places, these people. And I think it's very important. It's part of life, but it's not an everyday issue. You're not talking about death with your kid every single day, because then the kid will be, I don't know,
messed up.
No, not maybe messed up, but just tired. Like, I think
or focused on death.
Like overly focused, and maybe develops anxiety about death, or maybe it just gets so avtrubbad.
You just get so used to it.
You're just so hardened by all the information all the time. You're
like,
I don't care. Like, I don't care. Like, okay, someone died, so what?
Yeah, exactly. No, but I think that's I think it's an important topic, especially for the people who are listening to our podcast, to not be afraid to talk to children about death, and not be afraid to make it sort of informative and educational. I mean, like taking advantage of natural things like the cemetery or All Saints Day, or if someone dies, or like if a goldfish dies, or
what happens to the goldfish?
So I think that if we do that, if we sort of demystify death, then it becomes a subject that we can talk about, appropriately for that particular kid's age. But I think that we can talk about it, and I think that people should do it. So,
and I mean, for me as a Christian, when I talk with Nomi about like Jesus died for you on the cross, like he died, like she doesn't understand that, okay, he died, so he was not living anymore.
Right.
And then he lived again, which is like maybe weird for her, because when we talk about everyone else who dies, they do not after 3 days just creep out of the grave like, hey, I'm back. So yeah, it has this edge.
You just gave me this new picture of Jesus, just like, hey, I'm back.
I'm just joking. Gotcha.
Oh, man, no, you should not be a theologian. Okay.
I'm not. I'm a Sunday school teacher.
Exactly. Oh my God.
I'm a Sunday school teacher, so I can put it to the level kids.
Well, did your parents ever talk to you about death or anything?
Yeah, like because my parents had like ancestor worship, they would tell me about like this and this person died, so we have to sacrifice these fruits, blah blah blah, and they are living in the underworld, or like it's like almost a different dimension, because they are living in the same space like we do, but we can't see them, but they can see us, and they can apparently do things to us, but we can do things to them. So for me it was just creepy. I'm like, what? And then my mom would tell me horror stories about like ghosts on the graveyard at night, and people have seen ghosts, and she would tell me about how this tradition in Vietnam that they would bury someone, and then after a couple of years, when they have decomposed, hopefully they would dig them up again and gather their bones and bury them somewhere else. Not polish them, just put them in a.
But I thought they washed the bones and
they should be decomposed.
Just enough so it's just
So
just pick the bone up and everything else.
It should be after 7. No, there should be no meat. It should be like after 7 or 8 years somehow you dig them out again. Oh, dude.
Hey, I'm fascinated by your culture, okay?
It's not my culture. I'm not planning to do this to myself or anyone.
You mean when I die, you won't take my bones and put them in a box?
No.
I'm really offended.
Well,
I thought you would. I thought we were
maybe
really close.
God cannot put you together if I mix up your bones. I don't know.
I'll have my head where my butt is. That's what you get. God is like, see, you should take care of Ed's bones.
I hit my head in the wall behind me just by.
No, but I think that like different cultures, like I don't know how other cultures talk to the kids about death, but I think it's really fascinating. That's all.
I don't think my parents talked to me about death like I would talk to my kids about death, like more explaining. My parents were like, yeah, the person died. And I think I only saw the grief. Like I saw my dad crying a lot when my grandfather died, and that was in 2004 or something.
Okay.
He died youngish. He was like 70 or something.
Oh, wow.
It's not really
That's not
old.
No.
No, and then my grandma died a couple of years ago. And my I think the sad thing is that my parents both had siblings who died when they were younger.
Really?
So my mom's brother died when she was like, I think 12 or something.
Really?
And he was like 6.
Ooh.
It was really bad.
Wow.
And then that caused a lot of things happening in her life. Like her dad left the family because he wanted to have a son. There were 4 sisters and a son. The son died and he got a new family. He had 2 daughters and a son. And that son also died when he was an adult.
Oh,
and then my mom told me like, yeah, they went to a fortune teller and the fortune teller said that he will never have a son to carry on his name, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, whoa.
Wow.
So much drama.
Wow.
And then also apparently recently I learned that my father not only had one brother who died, But he had also had an older brother who died. But I don't know if my father ever met that older brother.
Okay, so
or if he died
before your dad was born.
So I was like, gosh,
man,
how many people are in the family?
And
I don't understand.
Wait,
I don't
they're
know.
all men in your family that are dying. So,
well, on my father's side, they are like, was it 5 brothers and 1 sister that are living? Or even more brothers and a sister. And my mom had 4 sisters and a brother.
Okay, wow.
So, yeah,
interesting.
And I think it will be more equal now because Jonas' parents had 2. Like Jonas' mom is a sister and a brother. Jonas' father is 2 brothers and 2 sisters. And Jonas is part of 2 brothers, 2 sisters.
Okay.
But now it gets more unequal because of the 7 grandkids they're having. 7 of them are kids, and only Itai, my son, is the son. Is a boy. So I have a daughter and a son. So I hope I'm just more like
we hope that
both.
we hope that you get twins next time.
Yeah, Jonas said I said, we were talking about 3 kids, haven't we?
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah. So we get another one, and then we get another one. And like, but that's 4. And he's like, no, that's 3. That's 3 and 1. Like, what? What are you talking about?
This is math, according to Jonas.
I'm like, no.
This is too advanced for us other normal people.
So I think talking about death is really difficult, and I think it's a part of you have to come to terms with it yourself. You know?
No, I mean, I think that we want to encourage our listeners that if you're taking care of a small kid and it's appropriate, talk to them about death, and don't be afraid and don't make it weird or anything.
No, I think if you are calm in yourself and you don't make it's so horrible, people are dying, like, and
stress them out.
You stress them out, then they obviously will be stressed by your reaction. But if you're just calm, like, everyone is dying, and we hope no one like has to suffer, and some people do, but we hope no one has to suffer, and and then if you're a Christian, then you go to Jesus, and if you're not, you go somewhere else.
And we're never going to talk about the somewhere else.
Yeah, we do when it's appropriate when they grow up, but I don't think that you
I don't think it's
necessarily have to.
I knew about it when I was a small kid, but
I don't know. I mean, of course you can say that
every Sunday. That's why
I think you should definitely mention it, but you don't have to focus on it.
No.
Like, go around, tell your friends that they're all going to hell.
But that's what we used to do. But I grew up in a very religious community, so everyone would be like, "Oh, you're gonna go to hell." He used to say it all the time. I'm like, okay, maybe I'm really...
I think we will not be popular neighbors anymore if we teach our kids to tell their kids, like, you're going to hell.
I don't think people... I would let you... I'm like, I don't know what's wrong with those people. Don't play with them. They're strange.
No,
they talk about hell all the time.
Yeah. I think hell is a part of the message. Definitely, because otherwise, what did Jesus save you from? But... But I don't think that's it's the thing you should start with. You shouldn't start with, you're going to hell. And people are like, really? Oh, no. How can I avoid that? So,
Well, I think that's probably a wrap for this time.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Let's
you got
wrap
anything
it
else you want
up.
to say or whatever?
No, but if you guys like have a difficult situation or anything, write to us.
Let us know.
Let us know, and we can give our input on this.
Yes, because we have a lot of things we'd like to talk to all of you about, but we also want to not just force our opinion upon you. And so we want you to become participatory and write to us. Keep writing. Keep telling us. Contact
about
us.
your life. Tell us about your life.
We want to know the juicy bits.
Do you want us to comment on any of our real life stories on you? Yeah.
Yes, and we'll tell you all the things that you need to do in order to get your act together. Well, everyone, thanks for listening to us. Don't forget to keep writing. We want to tell everyone that we're really grateful that we're still above the 100,000 mark for all of our listeners. And so, just keep bringing more people into the
community.
Into the community. So say into the fold of our sect. Yes. No.
Keep fikaing.
Yes, and if you want to know more about fika, well, you tell us what you eat when you listen to us.
Yes,
and we'll tell you what we eat when we listen to you.
Whoop whoop.
Okay, that doesn't make any sense. Huh?
When we read your messages.
Exactly. Yeah, when we read your messages, that's what we do. Okay, everyone, thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye. Thank you for listening. If you have any comments or ideas, please send us a message to fikaforlife@mail.com. Fika, F-I-K-A. This was the Fika for Life podcast with Linh and Edward Thomas, and we hope to hear you again.